Good morning, everyone. Morning.
It's like the kids' room here. That's that. Waiting for the adults to let us come to the table.
Okay, I gather we haven't started, have we? Okay. No.
Jason just mentioned they're still kind of waiting for a few more people to trickle in and getting organized on their end because of the weather.
Morning, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for those that braved the weather and got here. And thank you for those online joining us. I'm Jason Mosick. I'm the Vice Chair of the Toronto Film, Television, Digital Media Board. It has been confirmed that we have quorum for this meeting. So with that, I'd like to call to order meeting 6 of the Toronto Film, Television, Digital Media Board. Welcome, everyone. This meeting is being held with board members and staff participating by both video conference and in person at City Hall in Committee Room 1. Members of the public may also attend in person or observe the meeting on YouTube. I ask everyone for their patience today with any delays we may have due to any technical issues, such as my microphone. A few reminders, members and staff, please keep your microphones muted unless you need to answer a question or speak. Members, if you wish to speak, please raise your hand or unmute your mic to let us know. I also remind members that if you have any motions on any of the agenda items, they must be submitted in writing and emailed to the board secretary at ftdmb@toronto.ca. Although we're in different locations and meeting remotely today, the board would like to acknowledge that the land we are meeting on is the traditional territories of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. With that, may I have a motion to confirm the minutes from the November 7th, 2024 Film, Television, Digital Media Board meeting? Magali, Bijou? All in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. We have 3 items on today's agenda. And I think with agenda item 6.1, wanted to throw to Marguerite, if I might first.
Agenda item 6.1 is film strategy, yes?
Yes.
So as part of your opening remarks, not 6.1, you should mention the change in membership.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, thank you. I also wanted to let the board know that we do have a change of membership with respect to councillor representation on the committee. We do have 2 new councillors, both of whom are here today. Councillor Rachel Chernos-Lynn and Councillor Vincent Crisanti, who is, yes, online, sorry.
Yep. Good day, everybody.
Back and forth. Welcome, yep. Thank you.
Thanks.
And with that, I will throw it to Marguerite for Article 6.1, or Item 6.1, excuse me.
Thank you very much. If I may take one small liberty, I would like to take an opportunity to officially thank Councillor Shelley Carroll for her extraordinary contribution to the Film Board and to this industry. Her support remains very much intact. Her office assures me so. So I know that she will still be very much on our side at ECDC. So item 6.1 is the film strategy. So one of our top priorities for 2025 is to develop a 5-year strategy for the film office. So as you know, we've been very well guided by Spotlight, an action plan for Toronto's film industry, drafted in 2017. Given the extent to which both Toronto and the global market have evolved, we're very ready for a new strategy. It will be created in close collaboration with the Film Board. And as you know, we've been working to attach a consultant to drive the bulk of this work. We conducted a procurement process that started this past fall, and we are pleased to let you know that the successful vendor was Olsberg SPI. Jonathan Olsberg and Nika Luke are joining us today, and thanks very much to them. All of the administrative requirements to finalize the procurement were completed this week. It might have been yesterday afternoon. So Jonathan and Nika have had absolutely no time to read preparatory materials or to do any research for this meeting, but they are here today to introduce themselves and Olsberg SPI and to let you know how the consultation and drafting process will unfold and what the touch points will be for the Film Board and the Film Board's strategy working group that will support this process. Personally, I've been aware of Olsberg SPI since they authored a report for the CMPA related to independent production companies while I worked there. They have also published reports we often refer to in the film office, such as Best Practices for Screen Sector Development, which was a report done for the Association of Film Commissions International, and a white paper on global film and television production incentives. So they are a global company. And though they are a global company, they've had meaningful exposure to Canada, but bring a global lens for our global industry. And with that, I will ask Jonathan to further introduce himself and Nika as well.
Thank you very much indeed, Marguerite, and hello everybody. It's a great pleasure for Nika and I to be meeting with you today. We only recently heard we were successful in this bid, so we're very, very excited about the work that we're going to do for you and with you. Nika and I are going to spend a little bit of time introducing ourselves and the company. We'll chat a little bit about some of the examples of work that we've done and the clients that we've done the work for. We'll briefly mention our work in Canada and with Canada during that process. Then we'll outline the process or methodology that we're going to use at a very high level and leave time at the end, obviously, for any questions that you might have. So, Olsberg SPI, what does SPI stand for? It stands for Strategy, Planning and Implementation. And that is core, that's fundamental to our work. We've been in business as a creative industries consultancy for over 33 years now. And although we're a whole of it in the creative industries consultancy, I would say over this period, most of our work has been in the film and TV, what we call the screen sector. I'm the owner and founder of the company. My background, my first career was in finance. I was an investment banker in the City of London on Wall Street. And then I came into the film industry as a sales agent, started a very small company in New York. I've been a distributor of art movies back in the 80s. I've been a producer as well and an executive producer based both in London and in the US. The work of SPI I will describe in a moment, but I would just say that we're totally committed to the successful growth of this sector, both in terms of the domestic production activities in any particular country or region, as well as the sort of plethora of global productions that are moving around the world and seek somewhere to land. Anyway, that's me. I'll be the director of this project for you. Let me hand over to my good colleague, Nika Luke, who will talk about herself a little bit.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Jonathan. My name is Nika Luke, and as Jonathan said, I'm a consultant at Oldsberg SPI. I will be the project manager on this project, so I will be the day-to-day contact with the client for the duration of the project. I've been with SPI now nearly 5 years, and I've managed several studies relating to this topic in the form of industry assessments and roadmaps largely, and I've led a range of projects primarily in the US, Canada. We've done some work in Africa as well, and in the Caribbean. I'm also a former film commissioner from Trinidad and Tobago, which is where I'm from. I was film commissioner in Trinidad and Tobago for nearly 5 years, where I managed both domestic production, incoming production, managed the incentive that Trinidad and Tobago has, and marketed the location, all of these key touch points for a film commission office. I also have a professional background in corporate communications and corporate branding. My main role before I left that world and went into the film world was with RBC. I worked for the communications and brand office in the head office for RBC in the Caribbean, covering the entire Caribbean footprint. So that's my background, and very much looking forward to working on this study.
Thank you, Nika. Just to say, the team for this project, including, in addition to Nika and myself, we have 3 other executives. Kaylee Hughes, who is one of our senior consultants, and research analysts, Peter Cobb and Anna Clark. Also, I'd just like to say we have a team of 15 executives in London working for us, which includes people who have been at the coalface of production as producers, directors, and film commissioners, obviously with Nika. So we come at these tasks, not, if you like, from a theoretical perspective, but very much an understanding of the practicalities of the sector. So that's us. Let me talk about the company. So as I say, we're a global creative industries consultancy specializing in the screen sector. Our clients split sort of between the public sector clients or publicly funded clients, national, supranational, regional, city, etc. And that work is all about different ways in which those organizations, with their help, can be more successful in creating a thriving screen sector. The types of clients we have in the public sector are very many, but they range from the World Bank, the European Commission, the UK's HMRC, which is that National Tax Authority, government, national film bodies and government departments in Australia, Italy, New Zealand, Spain, Ireland, many regional and state clients particularly in the US and throughout Europe and in Australia, and also municipalities who want to see their industry strengthen in the same way that Toronto does, as far apart as Sao Paulo, Oakland, London, etc. We can talk more about our client base if you wish. So the work that we do covers a whole range of elements that could contribute to industry strategy. And we very much specialize in creating these roadmaps for successful growth. But that work in the public sector could involve, in addition to the sort of strategy development work, doing economic impact studies that prove the economic and cultural and social benefits of the sector or of individual measures like particular incentives. We also do work in workforce mapping and in the training of above and below the line elements. We do analyses of infrastructure to identify where there may be gaps and how to fill them. We do feasibility studies into new studio developments, etc. There's quite a wide range. And if you look on our website, they'll be described in more detail. We do also look at critical aspects of the industry globally. So we produce something called the Global Incentives Index every 6 months, which is an analysis of what's now over 120 automatic production incentives around the world. We wrote, as Margaret mentioned, a report called Best Practice in Screen Sector Development for the AFCI, which is kind of a policy playbook with case studies and examples of different areas that organizations such as the Film Office could enhance their ability to be successful. And for the MPA recently, we did the update of the Global Production Incentives white paper, which sort of explains how those incentives work and what the benefits might be. We also work for trade associations. I've mentioned the MPA, but we work for many independent producer associations around the world. We've done 2 projects for the CMPA. We've worked in Australia, in Ireland, in the UK, in Spain, in Italy, and many other jurisdictions. So we very much are aware of the need for a symbiotic relationship between a domestic and an international sort of production sector in any particular country or jurisdiction. We have a lot of commercial clients around the world, and it's quite typical that we're not able to describe in detail to the world what those assignments are. And I know this is a public meeting, so I'm slightly constrained by confidentiality, but we've been doing a lot of work over the years for commercial clients like Pinewood, Netflix, and also more recently Cinesite, many individual independent production companies. As I said, we're based in London, although 95% of our revenues come from outside the UK. We've got 15 full-time executives, and we often use freelance support where we need to fill in. I would say roughly half of our work is for the public sector, for governments and economic ministries, film commissions, etc. Tourism bodies, we do a lot of work in how film production can generate benefits in the tourism area. And the other half of our work is in the private sector. Just to say, whenever we approach any assignment, although we've got a lot of experience and may have done similar work in other jurisdictions, we make sure that we take an independent and objective approach to any work that we do, similar that might be similar to this in terms of assessing and analysing the situation. Although we have some familiarity with Toronto and Ontario and Canada, we're coming to this project with absolutely no pre-existing assumptions. And we enjoy the whole discovery process. And Nika will talk a little bit about our methodology and how we are looking forward to engaging you. We've done a number of assignments in Canada, 2 for the CMPA over the years, as well as for the CMF, and selected strategy advice in a couple of provinces. We regularly, obviously, attend Toronto International Film Festival and have a network of contents in and throughout and doing business in Canada. Okay, so that's us, and thank you for your patience in listening to me on that. I'm going to now pass back to Nika to talk a bit about our understanding of Canada and then go into the methodology that we propose for the study at a pretty high level.
Thank you, Jonathan. So we understand that this study and the resulting strategy are being commissioned at a time when Toronto is determined and ready to strengthen and advance its position as a mature hub for both domestic and international screen production. And of course, while there are challenges ongoing in the global screen industry, it is perhaps even more necessary than ever for Toronto to take a sober, objective, and data-driven approach to maintaining and increasing its competitive edge. So the methodology that we have put together has been refined for this particular study and its requirements. And our role here simply is to support the Film Office and the Film Board in its next phase of industry management with a systematic and objective assessment of the sector's performance and to develop a new comprehensive strategy that will continue to drive its competitiveness for the next 5 years. Key to this process will be taking a careful look at the trends that we anticipate. Obviously, there's a lot happening in this space at the moment, and SPIs across all of our work, we are constantly looking at how the industry is evolving. And we are looking at how the study will look at how these plans that we come up with or that we recommend can either mitigate or derive benefits from the trends. The methodology that we devised reflects the requirements of the RFQ as shared and features several tested steps to aid both our discovery and our recommendations. Throughout this brief methodology that I'll share with you, We understand that our main touch points are going to be both the Film Office and the Toronto Film Strategy Working Group. And they will be we will be touching base with them throughout the process in order to ensure that we are always on side. So after we do some preliminary research, we usually start with an inception meeting to ensure that we are all on the same page in terms of what the study is going to cover. And we then work with our team to gather a wide base of information using both quantitative desk research and qualitative confidential consultations, which is a really important part of the process for us in terms of gathering that data that is nuanced and gives us that deeper understanding that SPI is known for. We put together a pre-agreed list of industry professionals that we work with both the Film Office and the working group to refine. And then we go into detail on all aspects of the industry, looking at it from every single perspective. We also will take the opportunity to use surveys to wider poll the industry. So any gaps in information will be captured through a survey process. We then take all that information back to the team and we do a detailed brainstorm, usually several sessions of brainstorming, to ensure that we are clear on what we have gathered and what our recommendations are going to be. We then put together a progress report, which will be one of the main touch points with the working group and the Film Office to ensure that we are on side and again, we are aligned to the thinking. And then we put together the final report, which will be, there's several stages of drafting that we go through for the final report. And then we would put together a final presentation for whatever audience the Film Office and the working group require. And that's a broad overview of our process.
Thank you, Nika. Since we only just heard yesterday officially that we have this project, we've not done any particular preparation for this meeting other than what we've just presented to you. But we are very, very active globally in the sector. We have been aware and traveling to Toronto and Canada over the years. So if you have any specific questions for us, we'd be very, very happy to answer them.
Thank you for that very fulsome introduction, given you've been on the job for 24 hours. Not even. Does anyone have any questions or input at this stage? Obviously very early on, but seeing none. Sorry. Oh, sorry.
I just have a brief one, and maybe it's premature, but just because I'm also new to the committee, is there a timeline from the committee's expectations for this project?
Councillor, yes, thank you. I look forward to briefing you in. And the final report and presentation, although the work will likely be concluded well before this point, the final report and presentation based on Film Board meeting schedules can't go to Film Board until September because we have a meeting in May and then there's a summer period and then the meeting in September. We won't have completed this work by May, so we anticipate the final will be in September, but May will be a touch point with Oldsburg SPI on the work done today. Thank you for your question.
Thank you for that. Any other questions? Seeing none, can I get a motion to receive the update? Jane, Cynthia? All in favor? Anyone opposed? Carried. Thank you.
Jonathan, Nika, if you want to get on with your lives, you can.
Right. Yes. Thank you so much for your time. We very much look forward to meeting with you over the next several months, virtually and hopefully in person. Hope you have a good rest of the meeting. Bye-bye.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Both of you. Thank you very much.
With that, moving on to FB 6.2, which is a staff update with respect to the Toronto Film TV office. So with that, I will throw it over to Jessica. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I just want to say thank you for those who came in person and online. For this is not the nicest day to be out and about in Toronto, so it's really nice to see all your faces. I'm just going to update a bit on workforce development. We're kind of obviously wrapped up the 2024 projects and are moving into the 2025 planning. And I have a couple of things to talk about today. One is the successful completion of the first cohort of the real-time 3D training program with POV, Seneca, and Screen Industry Training Hub. Really excited to get that first cohort through the program. It's an introductory program. Bijou can answer any questions, help me answer any questions if you have any about it. And we're looking at 2025 doing a smaller cohort of kind of a slightly more advanced skill, preparing people for entry-level positions in VFX, gaming, those kinds of careers. So that was a new program, a pilot that went very well. We have a couple of additional programs to announce soon. A lot of focus, with the advice of the working group on workforce development, a lot of focus on the mid-career and kind of retraining and reskilling. And we also will be working with a few new partners who are kind of specializing in that area. And I'm also compiling a report now that I can present to the Workforce Development Working Group with, as our reporting comes in from the 10 community partners that we worked with in 2024. You know, I wait for their reports and then I will compile a report of the results in terms of placements and jobs, and also just completion of the program and what we were able to achieve. So it was a really challenging time, as we all know, but we still were able to affect kind of positive experiences for over 200 people. So pretty happy with that. And did you have something you wanted to add to the updates, or?
I will.
Okay, I'll throw to Marguerite.
Just very quickly, everyone on the film board is aware that in response to the catastrophic fires that took place in Los Angeles, we as a community came together and expressed our concern and care for our colleagues and friends. And one way that was expressed was by gathering donations. And 23 companies participated in that. And I recognize that this is a time when certainly it's very challenging for companies to participate in things like this. The last few years have been challenging. So I just really wanted to thank everybody who did and everybody who wanted to but couldn't, because I think, you know, our care and concern for our friends and colleagues was understood, and that's important, so thank you.
Thank you for that, and I just want to say that was an excellent initiative and an excellent thing for us as a community to come together and do. So thank you for stick handling that and coming up with that idea and moving it forward. Sorry, I apologize. Is there anything else? Sorry.
No, that's it.
That's it. Does anybody have any questions or comments with respect to the update from Jessica or Marguerite? Seeing none, can I get a motion to approve the report? Receive, sorry, not approve, sorry, thank you. EJ, seconder. Jane? All in favor? Anyone opposed? Carried, thank you. And with that, we can move on to, I think, the final item on our agenda, which is FB 6.3 and the Ontario Film and Television Tax Credit discussion, which I will also throw over to Marguerite, so thank you.
Thank you. This is a very, very brief point. We put this on the agenda simply because we're aware that the tax credit environment is a very dynamic one, nationally and internationally. We are working with industry to figure out what, if anything, we may want to put forward to the next government. So at this point, I just wanted to signal to our stakeholders that we are conscious that this is an important decision to be, an important conversation to be having at this point, a conversation we would have anytime we're looking at a new government. And so I just wanted to put this on the agenda to kind of formally acknowledge that. And this is probably going to be the shortest film board meeting like ever.
Go team.
You're welcome.
Thank you for that, Marguerite. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, can I get a motion to receive that report? Lisa, seconder. Angela? All in favor? Any opposed? Carried, thank you. And I was just reminded that I guess there is one last piece of business. There is a motion to excuse the absences of those not in attendance today. There it is, up on the screen now. So a motion that the Film, Television, Digital Media Board excuse the absence of Joan Jenkinson, Ramona Pringle, John Rakich, Paula Devonshire, Alma Pervazan, and Wendy Noss from the February 6, 2025 meeting of the board. Can I get a motion to approve that? Jane, thank you. Seconder, Angela? All in favor?
Chair, if I could interject, just a quick question.
Sure.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. I didn't want to interrupt. Just looking at, so first meeting, and Marguerite, yeah, a very short meeting, and which isn't a bad thing. But I'm just wondering is it possible to get more background or just information that could be attached to the, for example, on the staff update part of it, when you're reporting on different items like volumes and workforce development and so on. Any chance that we could get some advanced reporting out before the meeting?
Thank you for the question, Councillor. I regret that we've not had the opportunity to welcome you to the board and brief you in. So I certainly look forward to taking that first step. And we can familiarize you with all the workforce development programs that we do at that point in time, because there's quite an ongoing narrative. So I look forward to having that discussion with you.
Sure, that works as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that. Thank you, Marguerite. Sorry, did we close that off? The absence, the motions? Yes, we did. It was carried. Perfect. That concludes our business for today. Thank you for a chop, short and sweet meeting. Thank you everyone for participating, and the meeting is adjourned. Our next meeting is May 20th, 2025. We'll see you all then, and many of you before. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. Have a great day.